The director, and that's Subramaniam, and producer, Chumun Teo. And then from God is Shy, Jocelyn Charles, the director. Right, guys. 我哋呢個對話用英文好唔 OK？大家有冇人需要廣東話翻譯嘅？So I'm just asking if they need translation for the English。有冇人需要翻譯？咁我哋用英文進行㗎啦。Okay, so we do this entirely in English. Okay. So first of all, both your films have some really out there ideas. You have a bisexual goat, and then you have a crazy woman who wants to talk to God for someone who's almost asleep. So can you guys tell us where you got your ideas from for your short films? Maybe we'll start with Annette.
Hello guys, thanks for coming. Where does it come from? That's well, it's a bit of a long answer though.
It's okay.
Okay, because my culture is a culture of symbolism, and currently my people are about 5% of the population in Malaysia. So there's a big struggle in the current generation where how we identify ourselves, not just inside the culture but also as a whole, as a Malaysian. And because symbolism is such a big part of my culture, I just found that the current generation feel like a goat sent to slaughter, because we do that. In my culture we do. If you want something, you pray to the gods and you take a goat and you sacrifice the goat to save God. And we feel like our parents are raising us just to be these goats, So I guess it's a starting point for the film, at least.
Okay, and then
hello everyone, thanks for coming too. About the idea, I guess I've always been fascinated by metaphysical questions. For all my work, there have been this topic around, but the movie was written in a weird process because I didn't write anything actually. I started to storyboard instantly without knowing what I was going to tell about, but because it's a very personal topic, I guess it went out to my subconscious when I was drawing. So it's kind of fun because the movie is also about the subconscious that comes out to people. But also there is something else. I was fascinated by what horror can be brought in animation. It's something we don't find a lot in animation, the horror genre. So I always thought there was something to play with because it allows so many different ideas of storytelling, of light, of sounds. It's almost like a new color in the spectrum of all the emotion you can bring in a movie when you have horror involved. So I thought it was very interesting to use this in animation.
Well, both your films also has a sort of commonality, which is the idea of religion, right? Can you guys sort of elaborate a little bit about the role of religion in your respective films? Start back with.
Sure. It's tough, Religion is
it's a very loaded question.
Yeah, it is. Because, like I said, we are only 5% of the population. So, but the elders, right? They're trying to gatekeep this culture that is dying slowly. Like I'm okay with the fact that in about 10 years, my people will be like 2%, right? It's just a fact. But I feel the problem is this elder people, they are trying to hold this religion. They don't want to share it with the rest of the country. They're gatekeeping it. They put a lock around it, and I think they don't realize that the more they keep it close, the more they lock it in. They're strangling the culture, and somehow it's dying. And I feel, while I can't stop it, right? I can't stop the reduction of the population. But what I can do is I can capture these moments, these times of my people, and that's one of the reasons why I made it black and white as well, so that it'll be timeless in about 10 years or so. Hopefully people watch it and realize that there was this group of people who, yeah, I think that's,
yeah. And Justin, meanwhile, your film, you have a god who who sees the questions as sort of minuscule or undermines the woman's questions, these deep questions about faith or about the origin of life. Can you elaborate about your view of religion in your film?
Yeah, actually, the subject of religion is. I decided to title God is Shy, but it was actually at the end of the story. I didn't really think it was a religious movie before writing God is Shy. For the title, it's mostly because I find it very interesting to have this contrast of the immensity of what God can represent and the shyness we have all inside of us, and in the movie it's expressed just by a whispering in the sleep, so it's very shy, it's very timid. So that's why I found this title. But actually I'm not really a religious person, but I'm definitely superstitious and I have a lot of beliefs. I'm not religious in the common way, but I believe in things, and that's maybe what I wanted to bring in this story. As I said before, it's complicated to explain how I got all these ideas because I was really writing just straight ahead, storyboarding and animating at the same time as finding ideas. So I really did not know where the story was gonna go, uh, but that definitely tells something about me, this movie. But it's hard to have a proper explanation of why I got this idea and what all the process being before.
And then before we open the floor, I'd like to ask Mabel, when Nathan came to you about making a film about bisexual goat in black and white, as a producer, how did you respond or how did you react?
It's very risky, I would say, in the very beginning, because it's, there's many people say black and white film is quite pretentious, but we have a lot of discussion on this, and I'm totally agree of what Anand say that we want to make it black and white to keep it timeless. So you see it in another 10 years, even 15, 20 years, you still can link to the situations, especially for Malaysian Tamil. Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's open up the floor for questions. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Our staff will bring you a microphone. Does anyone have a question about Bleat or God is Shy? You guys are shy too. Yes, over here.
I'm glad that we have the chance to see both of your movies. It was eye-opening. I have a small question for the Bleak team. At the end, the goat actually transcend and become a pictures on the wall. Is there any symbolism, as in guiding your future generations of Tamils and Malaysians, or is it like a wish for what they can be?
I think it's a mixture of some of those things that you say, but mainly when I like again, I'm still trying to like find myself in my community as well. So it's like when I make this film, it's somehow trying to answer questions that I have had. So what I've noticed is a lot of the time when my people don't understand something, they tend to make it into images and plaster it everywhere. Like if you go to temples and you could see a lot of like voluptuous characters. We are very open about sexuality in the temples, but only in the temples. Like when you come out of the temple, it's just a closed-minded community. So it makes me curious, and also we were such a superpower of art back in the days. If you go to like if I track back my like 5 or 6 generation back to India, like if I go to India and I'm shocked by the amount of like art exists there, but none of it sort of translated into the current generation for some reason. I mean, all the way from cinema to fine art. I don't know why, and I guess it's also a question that I'm having, and this is a start. So hopefully, by the time I get to my feature, I would have answered all of this.